Hello students, today we are entering into a new chapter, that is photochemistry. And in this class we will try to cover the laws of photochemistry. So before going to start the laws of photochemistry, first we should understand what is photochemistry. Photochemistry is a branch of chemistry. It is the branch of chemistry which deals with the study of photochemical reactions. So first we should understand what is photochemical reactions. So the any reactions which are occurred in presence of light. So here photo is nothing but light, or else we can call photon. So photochemical reactions are nothing but chemical reactions occur directly or indirectly as the result of the absorption of photons from visible or ultraviolet radiations. So what are photochemical reactions? Chemical reactions occurs directly or indirectly as the result of the absorption of photons from visible or ultraviolet radiations. From about the range of visible and ultraviolet radiations are these around 2000 angstrom to 8000 angstrom. These kind of reactions are called photochemical reactions. So once again, the chemical reactions occurs directly or indirectly as the result of the absorption of photons from visible or ultraviolet radiations from about 2000 angstrom to 8000 angstrom. But for us, the one question is there: why these chemical reactions are occurred in visible or in ultraviolet region only? Why not in infrared, X-ray or gamma radiations? The simple is that the chemical reactions are occurred by loss of or the breaking of bonds or by forming the new bonds. So to break or to form the new bonds, the energy required is around 36 kilocalories to the 28 kilocalories, and the energy of these visible and ultraviolet radiations in this range is around 23 kilocalories to 230 kilocalories. That's why all the chemical reactions are normally occurred in visible or ultraviolet radiation. So now we will move towards the laws of photochemistry. There are two laws. The first one is Grothus-Draper's law. And the second one, Stark-Einstein law of photochemical equivalence. First we will see Grothus-Draper's law. Grothus-Draper's law. This Grothus-Draper law is also called the principle of photochemical activation. It is also called the principle of photochemical activation, and it is also known as the first law of photochemistry. First law of Grothus-Draper law is first introduced by Grothus in the year 1818. He is first introduced by the German scientist called Grothus in the year 1818. He only gives the theoretical explanation. Then later this law is once again extended and experimentally confirmed by the one more scientist called Draper in the year 1839. So what they have concluded, we will see the statement here. So this is the statement for Grothus-Draper law. So it states that only those radiations which are absorbed by reacting system can be effective in producing chemical change. So simply we will consider one experiment here. Here we have a system which contains the reacting molecule called A and B. When the ultraviolet or visible radiations strike these reacting molecules or this container which containing the reacting molecules, the part of these radiations are get transmitted and some part of these radiations are get reflected and some only a fraction of these radiations are get absorbed by these molecules. Then obviously whatever may be the radiations which are get absorbed by the reacting molecules are only capable of bringing the changes, that is chemical changes. So here we will take I naught as the intensity of incident radiations and IR as the intensity of reflected radiations, whereas IT as the intensity of transmitted radiations, whereas IA as the intensity of absorbed radiations. See here, some portion of the radiations is get reflected, that means it is not used for the reacting molecules, and the some portion of radiations are get transmitted, that means which are also not available for the reacting molecules. So the radiations which are only absorbed by this reacting system are capable of bringing chemical changes. But it does not mean that the whatever may be the radiations are get absorbed by the reacting system. capable of bringing the chemical changes. Sometimes the whatever may be the radiations are get absorbed, they may re-emit in the form of heat or light. So it is not necessary that each and every radiations which are get absorbed by the reacting molecules are result in chemical changes. That's why the Grothus-Dropper's law has some limitations. This law is so simple and self-evident, but it is purely qualitative. This law is purely qualitative because it gives no idea of the relationship between the absorbed radiation and the molecules undergoing the change. Now we will move towards one more law of photochemistry, that is Stark-Einstein's law of photochemical equivalence. This Stark-Einstein law of photochemical equivalence is first introduced by the scientist called Einstein in the year 1905. Later it is once again extended by the one more scientist called Stark in the year 1908. So what is the statement for this law? And this law is also known as second law of photochemistry. And statement for this law is in a primary photochemical process, one molecule is activated by one quantum of absorbed, this is one quantum of absorbed radiation. So what is this primary photochemical process then? So initially the reactant molecule is there called AB. When it is irradiated with the radiations of one photon or one quantum, which is called as h nu, so initially these reacting molecules are get excited to the higher energy level. So that is called activation of reactant molecule. This law states that simply this is the primary photochemical process, that is excitation of reacting molecule to form the activated molecule. Here each and every molecule is get activated by one quantum of radiation. That means the one molecule of reactant molecule is get activated by the one photon or one quantum of radiations. So that's why it is called photochemical equivalence. That is one quantum of radiations are absorbed by one reacting molecule and they will get activated. So this is very simple. And these activated molecules are decomposed to form the product. But in usual practice, we use the molar quantities instead of molecules. So 1 mole of reacting molecule AB absorbs 1 mole of photons. So simply we can say 1 mole of AB will absorb 1 mole of photons to activate 1 mole of or to get 1 mole of activated molecule. Here we can also use, instead of 1 mole of photons, we can use the term 1 Einstein. So 1 Einstein is nothing but, this is the 1 Einstein is the energy possessed by 1 mole of photons. It is nothing but the energy possessed by 1 mole of photons. And the value of energy can be calculated by using the expression E is equal to 2.859 by lambda in centimeter into 10 to the power 5 kilocalories per mole. If nu is the frequency of the absorbed radiation, then the energy absorbed by each reacting molecule is given by E is equal to h nu, where h is Planck's constant, and this energy is only for the one molecule of reacting molecule. If you consider 1 mole of reacting molecules, then this expression can be written as E is equal to n into h nu, where n is Avogadro's number. So once again we know that frequency is nothing but c by lambda, that is the ratio of velocity of light in vacuum to the wavelength. So that expression can be once again written as E is equal to nhc by lambda. Now we will put the values of these terms in this equation. Just consider the Cesius system in where n is equal to 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 per mole, and h is equal to Planck's constant, that is 626 into 10 to the power minus 27 ergs per second. And c is equal to, that is velocity of light, 3.0 into 10 to the power 10 centimeter per second. So now the equation becomes E is equal to, we have the value of n now, 6.022 into 10 to the power 23, whereas h is equal to 6.626 into 10 to the power minus 27 into 3.0 into 10 to the power 10 divided by lambda. Now what we will get? So after multiplying all these terms, we will get 119.7 into 10 to the power 6 ergs per mole. Ergs per mole. This is once again divided by lambda. But lambda is in angstrom, but in Cesius system we can convert this angstrom into centimeter. We know that 1 angstrom is equal to 1 into 10 to the power minus 8 per centimeter. Then we can write E is equal to 119.7 into 10 to the power 6 by 1 into 10 to the power minus 8 into lambda. So here we can write once again ergs per mole. Now if you want to convert these terms in calories, then we need to divide this term by 4.184 into 10 to the power 7 ergs, because we know that 1 calorie is equal to 4.184 into 10 to the power 7 ergs. So to convert these terms in form of calories, we just need to divide this whole term by 4.184. So let's see what we get now. 119.7 into 10 to the power 6 divides 4.184 into 10 to the power 7. Already we have 10 to the power minus 8. They cancel, so we can write 10 to the power minus 1 into lambda. So finally we will get the value 28.6 into 10 to the power 7 by lambda calorie per mole. So or else we can also write 2.86 into 10 to the power 5 by lambda kilocalorie per mole.